Hello, my peaceful and profitable five-figure entrepreneurs. Welcome. It is Wednesday. I am so excited. This is the week before St. Patrick's Day, so I'm really getting into the St. Patty's Day stuff this year. So the conversation we're having today is, let me look at the title, How My Client Made $12,000 in Sales Off of One Webinar. We didn't leave it up to luck. So if you're on my email list, if you're in my world, you know I'm talking a lot this week about kind of like making our own luck and not leaving things up to luck, or it's not all up to just the lucky people that get these results. So my goal today is to tell you how she made $12K off of one webinar and everything that went into it. I love giving context. I love giving behind the scenes. So this is what we're really going to dive into today. As always, thank you so much for joining, either live or on the replay. Be sure to say hi, ask your questions. I always like to do a giveaway if you join and leave some kind of comment or question because it's just fun. So if you leave a comment or question, I will give away my masterclass I did last year. It's not available online. I do have it, just I give it away with these. But it is all about writing sales posts that book clients. So I know so many people struggle hard with this, and so I created this masterclass. It has a live stream, it has a playbook to literally break it down how to write sales posts, because so many people just don't. They are not writing sales posts, and they're sitting there wondering, like, why am I not making sales? And that's kind of why. So if you comment or leave a question today or on the replay, we will announce the winner on Friday, and I'll be happy to send that to you via email. So that is that. We do not have any intensives left for March, so if you are interested, go ahead and get on the list for April. We'll be opening spots for April. And yeah, I'm booking calls for my free strategy audit. Those are calls to really support you. I help done for you service providers really to build, grow, and scale into like done with you service providers and offers so that they can make 10K months. If you're a web designer, photographer, social media manager, VA, OBM, bookkeeper, CPA, attorney, nurse, physician's assistant, all these people who kind of have a rate that gets capped and they hit a ceiling where they're like, I cannot take on any more clients. My revenue is capped at this amount. I support them to repackage those skills into something that is higher ticket and sells out successfully. That's the key. I know lots of people who do pivot and create these higher tickets and they're not selling those spots out. So that's the key. I started 8 years ago as a bookkeeper charging $35 an hour, and now I do one-to-one coaching. I have supported many clients to build, grow, and scale into multi-six, and seven figures. I've had 35 consecutive five-figure months at this point. Hi, Adrian. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad to have you. I want this to be supportive to you, so I was just jumping on and saying, ask your questions, leave your comments. Like, this is, something I want you to get a ton out of. So I was just introducing myself, who I am, who I support, but I'm basically, like, I know what it's like to go from a $35 an hour bookkeeper to creating 20K cash months, and I support the shit out of my clients to do the same. That is why they hire me. They hire me not because they have the clients in cash, but because they don't have the clients in cash that they want. So that is who I am and who I support. What we are talking about today is so near and dear to my heart because this client, the details I'm going to share, all of that, she made $12K in sales off of one webinar. She is you. Like, she is a mom. She is a volunteer. She does not work full time. During the summer, she takes off Fridays to be with her child. Her child is in all kinds of activities that she is going to late in the evenings. Like, she is not this, like, she is a unicorn of a person, and she's all of us. So that's why I'm really excited to share this, because I feel like this conversation is like, oh, it's for someone who works or who works more, or someone who doesn't have kids, or someone who, does XYZ that I don't know about. And it's like, it's literally you. Like, she is you. And so we're going to break that down. And I'm really feeling the St. Patrick's Day vibe. I have found in the past 3 weeks, I have found 55 4-leaf clovers. Like, I'm not fucking kidding. Like, I am so proud of myself. If you're on my email list, if you're on Instagram, I am sharing this with the world. I found this really great patch. That's the thing. When you find one, you got to keep looking in that area. My mother-in-law's neighbor has this patch. I found 10 the first time I looked. The time I went back, I found 44. Like, I could barely hold them all in my hand. It was wild. So I am really deep into the 4-leaf clovers and the the St. Patty's vibe. So that's what we're going to dive into. I'm going to pull up the group. I think, Adrienne, I saw you're here. Feel free to ask your questions, but hopefully there's not too much of a delay. But if there is, oh, hi, you said hi. So I'll have to just kind of go back and make sure that I'm like getting your questions. But let's go ahead and dive in. So if you know me, I want to give all the context. I want to give like all the details. I'll give you the results, kind of give you the mindset, and then I break it down into strategy pieces. And I have a lot of notes. But I do have a call, so we'll have to keep this not as long as I did last week. But let's talk about the results first. So one of my clients made $12K when she sold off of one webinar. So she had 333 people signed up for the webinar. She gave them a certain like dollar off when they purchased within 24 hours of the webinar, but no one used the special discount. Like that to me is mind-boggling. Like we were really surprised. Like we were like, okay, she's going to give X number away if they book within 24 hours, and nobody used it. So that was fun to see. It was kind of like the promo worked, but she didn't lose any money because of it. So the result was $12K from the webinar, and her average ticket price was about $900. And that's the average. Some people pay in full. Some people do a payment plan and pay a little bit more. So $900 is like the average price that I can give you. So that's the result, and we're going to dive into takeaways. And the first piece is mindset. Like, I'm just going to lay it out there. She was not an overnight success. Like, we've been working together for a couple years. Her mindset wobbled from time to time. Like, she fluctuated from like, I got this, like I'm on fire, to the other side of the, coin of imposter syndrome. Who am I to do this? She for a while was always changing her strategy, always changing her offers. And so having me there with her to really be like, let's go all in on one, was like the foundational piece of this. And this is something I see so many business owners losing traction because they aren't focused on one thing. So we got really clear on the one thing and went all in there. When she promoted and launched this, she was in such a good place. Like, she felt on fire. If y'all know me, I take the month of July off, like totally, so that I can be in the mountains with my daughters. And when I came back, most of my clients, like that month off, like sets a flame under them. So she came back like the end of last year, like just ready to like have this new offer, roll it out. She felt really good. And that's just really important to say, is like, we can kind of have both. Like, she had pre-webinar nerves. She was like wondering, are people going to buy? Like, is anyone actually going to show up? But like, she had come so far with her mindset and just being like really sold on herself, really sold on this offer. Like, this offer was like her baby. It lit her up. Like, she couldn't wait to get it out there to the world. And so all those nerves and imposter syndrome kind of like were downplayed because she was just so excited about it. But that's a really important piece to say, is that she was not an overnight success. We had built this offer up over a while. We had, kind of done different iterations of it, and we finally got clear on what it was. And then her mindset was in just like this, really excited, I can't wait to share this with the world. And she did kind of have like this, is anyone going to buy, worry. And, my reflection that I gave to her is really like, not make it about you and what you're going to sell, make it about them. Make it about, what do they need? What's preventing them from buying? Is it not the right fit? Is it something else? And we can kind of get into that later, but really taking the mindset piece off of me and what I'm getting and putting it on my people and what they're getting and how I'm supporting the shit out of them. So really, thinking about, for you, everyone that's watching or catching the replay, like, do you have this mindset? Like, we always hear you have to be sold on yourself, and it's just so fucking true. And like, I know that can be like, eye roll, Jordan. I've heard that 50 times. And it's like, you've heard that 50 times for a reason, because that is literally the first thing. So if you hear someone with a money objection, because that's what most of us deal with, money objections and time objections. And this client of mine is no different. Her clients they don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of time. So really thinking about why your offer is still the best thing they can buy, even when they don't have a lot of time, even when they don't have a lot of money, and getting sold on that, because then you can communicate and you're not like scared of any objections or any wobbles, because you're like, I know you don't have a lot of time, but this is still the best thing for you. I know you don't have a lot of money. This is still the best thing for you. So thinking about your offers and when you're selling and when you're, making a pitch or giving value or putting content out there, like letting people know and feeling so sold on why, even if they don't have a ton of money or time, why this is still the thing that's going to help them solve their problem. So once you know that you kind of have that, it makes selling so much easier, because you're not like, oh, you're right, oh, you don't have much money, you probably shouldn't buy from me, or oh yeah, you don't have much time. Well, and obviously there needs to be like a timing alignment. Like I tell people who book an intensive with me, like, make sure you have the week afterwards available to go all in. Like, I get it. So there is a time piece, and some people are just waiting for that perfect time that is never going to happen. They're getting in their own way. And so kind of being the person there who's like, I see you, I hear you, and I still know that if you don't have a lot of time, this is the thing for you. So that's important to say. And she knew, like, she was going to save people so much time. Like, they're busy, they don't have a lot of money. She is saving them so much time and money with what she was offering. So she felt really good about that. So that's all I say about that. And again, if you need support around this, I've got the free strategy calls. We can take these calls in any direction you need, whether it is creating your high ticket offer or whether it's kind of the messaging around why someone with an objection still needs your offer. Like, an objection doesn't mean no. An objection just means they have a question. And so you can book a free strategy session with me, and we can figure out like why your offer is still the thing someone needs, even when they have a wobble, even when they have an objection. So I'll put the link below after the class, or after this live stream. So let's dive into the strategy, because that's what everybody's like, give me the strategy, fuck mindset. But mindset is like the place to start first. So strategy. The first piece is, she didn't show up one day, have a webinar, and sell off of that. Like, she has been building relationships with her audience for a long time. She has shown up and provide tons of value before she ever asked anyone to pay her a dime, before she even pitched. Like, they know and trust her information. Like, they know like how much value they've gotten with the free stuff, how like great it's going to be on the other side of a paid container. And she even opened it up. And that's why she's had such great results recently, is because she's literally telling people, like, ask me if this is the right fit. I'll give it to you straight. I'll be honest. So with her most recent launch she turned 4 people away because they just weren't the right fit. And it's so powerful to see that, like, she's building trust with her audience, because she's like, I'm not selling you something that you don't need or isn't the right time. Like, I'll give it to you straight. And so just building that trust and relationship with her audience was huge. It wasn't like she just showed up one day like, hey, I have a webinar, come join it. Like, she's been showing up daily for years. Like, we have gone on this amazing process with her content, because for a while it was totally overwhelming, not sustainable, but we really created systems and processes around that so that it could be a little bit more rinse and repeat, get some VAs help in there, like repurpose things strategically. Like, we did all of that. And so she's able to like show up and like go all out, because she has such a great system and process to really support her and not make it overwhelming. So that's important to say. So think about your content, think about your audience and how you're showing up. Like, really think about the different types of content you're putting out there. Like, you might want to have bite-sized stuff, stories on Instagram, and really like creating FOMO in your socials. Do more in-depth emails. Maybe you have way more in-depth on webinars. Like, I'll just use myself an example. Like, I go live weekly. This is my more in-depth stuff. I can take chunks of these live streams and kind of repurpose it into my emails, into my social media posts, like, and then I have like different levels of, content and engagement and relationship building with my people all the time. Like, I think about my sister. My sister is like my favorite person in the world. Like, we talk all the time, well, not all the time. We talk like once a week. We text on a daily basis. We see each other like, a couple times a quarter. So we have all these different types of relationship touch points. And so think about that with your audience. Like, you're not going to build a relationship with someone by always texting them. It's really hard to just always do a weekend away with someone. Like, think about making sure you're building relationships in different ways, like having some bite-sized content, having some more in-depth stuff, having some even deeper stuff. Like, I do quarterly master classes to really go deep and give people like a shit ton of value. So think about in your content, how are you cultivating those relationships on different levels? Just like I'm not going to just text my sister all the time. Like, we're going to text, we're going to call, we're going to see each other in person. Like, all these different layers to build the relationship. And so that's what she did for a long time before she did this webinar. So make sure you've got that. I think that's it I have to say about this. Bring that to your client journey, bring it to your content. Which content is more bite-sized? Which content goes deeper? What is the next step you're asking someone to do to build the relationship? I see so often people are like, book a best fit call. And it's like, well, your audience just might not be there yet. So like, what's the next thing you can do? That's why I love doing my free strategy sessions. It's like, we can figure out, is it a free PDF? Is it a free call? Is it a free training? Like, have that easy yes for them so they can build the relationship. Even if they're not ready to buy from you, they're still building a relationship, deepening it. Like, that's what this is all about. And I think, and I know that's why she got great results, is because she had all these touch points and different layers in her content. So again, we can always hop on a call and think about your client journey or how you build different levels of relationships and trust with your people. Okay, so the second strategy piece is she used data from her past launch to guide her. So I am big into data. My background is bookkeeping. I'm into numbers. I'm into spreadsheets. I get Google Analytics 4 access to my clients. I build traffic dashboards. Like, I am deep into, I love the mindset stuff, and the numbers support that so well. So we knew where people were dropping off. Like, we could look back and be like, okay, they kind of got stuck here. Like, if you're thinking about like a hose, where is the kink in the hose? And we knew where the kink in the hose was. And so we knew what people's objections were. So she started speaking to those early and often. And this helped them feel seen. It helped them feel heard. She even received like 99% fewer objections in the second launch. Like, she messaged me and I was like, how's it going? What are people saying? Are you having to do a lot of like education? What's going on? And she was like, they're all easy yeses. And I think it was because, like 99% sure, it's because she was speaking to the objections early and often. So many people are so uncomfortable to speak to objections, but you're just ignoring the elephant in the room. Like, if someone's not speaking to objections, the potential client may not feel seen and they may not feel heard. So in this case, when she really spoke to objections, like, that took out so much of the like salesy trying to convince someone of something piece. Like, she was very upfront about like, yeah, I hear you. I see you don't have a lot of time. This is why this is still a great, use of your money or use of your time. Okay, you don't have a ton of money. This is still why this is a great use of your money. It's kind of like we talked about earlier, like being so sold on why this is still a great offer for someone, even if they don't have time and money. So speaking to that and that was the case for her. That was the kink in the hose, was really like speaking to objections. Someone's not sure if this is for me or this is for them. So that was what we did. We really spoke to objections, and we could see that content just kind of like explode. Like, that was what people were wanting. She was saying the things that they were thinking, and they were like, damn, she's in my head. Like, that helped so much. So that was like a huge piece of it. So basically the launch filled to capacity with a bunch of easy yeses. So I cannot stress enough, use your data to really guide you, whether it's a launch, whether it's, you're trying to fill your pipeline, like whatever your piece is. And if y'all have specific questions or anything, let me know and we can kind of break it down, because I know this is a little nebulous to just say, use your data, but like, is it that people aren't buying your service or taking you up on your free download because they aren't getting to your website? Or are people getting to your website and they're not taking that next step? Like, that's just a place to play with data, is like, do we need to just get this in front of more people? Or we have this in front of a lot of people. We have the eyes on it. They're not taking the next step. So like, that's kind of like one area where you can use data. And then it's like, okay, we are getting people. They are signing up for my free webinar or my free masterclass. Cool. We got all these signups. Now they're not taking the next step. What do we need to tweak there? So it's all like along the way, you're kind of just like playing detective and seeing like, okay, what's the problem? You don't want to be solving a problem like way down here when the problem, somebody getting stuck right here. So let me know if you have questions. Again, I want to give more examples, but that's kind of how I see this. Like with her, we knew that a ton of people were just like, she was in front of them. Like she had eyes, she had the audience. The next thing was like, people still weren't buying. Like, she had a lot of people on the wait list. And so that was our job, is to be like, okay, cool. We have a bunch of people on the wait list. then we were just like, okay, speaking to the objections was the next step. Like, something is holding them back. They haven't said it, but we're going to say it. And that's when it just kind of like popped and took off from there. So that's when you want to use your data, use your information so you can see what the right problem to solve is. Because you could think like, my offer isn't selling because the price is too high or because it sucks. And it's like, well, we can look at your traffic dashboard and be like, no one's seen it. Like, you've put it out there, but no one's clicked the link to look at this. So that's why it isn't selling. Like, let's not worry about the price or the offer or whatever. Like, let's just get this in front of more eyes. So that is like solving the right problem. I will talk about this all day long because that is such a huge thing. And it gives you so much peace, like peaceful and profitable. Like, it gives you so much peace to know, like, it's not me. I think I did a reel that'll come out recently, and it's like, you know, the anti-hero, like, hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. And I'm like, no, it's not me. Like, it's actually not. I can look at my data and be like, it's not me. So that is why it's so helpful. It's helpful with from a strategic standpoint, but it's also helpful with the mindset. Just to know that there's not like a problem with you or your offer or you suck. So this is like, I want to reiterate that piece. It's so important. She wasn't an overnight success. Like, this was a process she needed to stay in. And in order to build that pop moment, we had to build momentum. Like, she stayed in this for months. So we let that snowball build, and then it finally like rolled down the mountain and turned into this huge avalanche kind of thing. So results just take time. And I kind of mentioned this on a previous live stream recently, but like, anyone who tells you otherwise just run in the opposite direction. And it often takes longer than we think, which is a bitch. But it's also just helpful to normalize this. Like, if it takes you 3 to 6 months to get clear on your sales process and your journey and problem solve along the way, like, 6 months is nothing. Like, if we're going to be in business, I've been in business 8 years. You know, I plan to be in business another 10. I don't know. I'm not stopping anytime soon, but like 6 months or whatever it is just a blip on the radar. And so let yourself go there and let yourself problem solve and be like, I'm going to nail this piece of my client journey. I'm going to fucking nail it. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to do it. Once you get that piece good, then move on to the next. Then move on to the next. Like, we get to be so strategic so that we're not just like all over the place. Like, that is like the key here. And that point is like using the data and letting yourself have time to build it up. And that is the piece with data too. It needs time to get the data. Like, we can start collecting it, but it takes time to actually have enough information to actually matter. So it takes time. It takes building momentum. It would be nice if we had these results, like if she sold 12K off of one webinar right off the bat, but it's just not reality. And there are definitely outliers out there. People definitely do that, but we don't play to the outliers. Like, we are playing to what is true, what is sustainable, what is intentional in business. If she had had 12K in sales off of one webinar, even like a year earlier, I don't think she could have handled it as well. Just as a person with the team that she had, with a busy lifestyle, like, I genuinely see it as all building to the exact moment that she could handle that kind of launch. And so that is just like a beautiful reminder too, is that like, we're growing as a business owner along the way. And there are just certain things that pop up when it's time and that we're ready and able to handle as a business owner, because having 12K in sales right off the bat, that's a lot of people to hold. That's just a lot of humans right there. And so she was at that point where she could handle all of that. So let yourself like not try to go viral or not try to hack the algorithm. Like, we want to build in a sustainable way where when you have that pop moment, it's like, yeah, we popped, but it also was a long time coming. It's kind of like that Oprah effect. Like, people grow too fast. Like, they get on Oprah, they blow up, and then their business kind of tanks because their service, because the quality of their product, whatever, everything kind of just couldn't handle that much attention and that much interest. And so it really doesn't serve their business in the long run. And it can be super stressful. And I am here to support people to stay in business for the long run. Because if you know me, you know my thing is like women having more money in their pockets. It really improves our communities. There's so much data and research about this. And I want my clients to be in it for the long haul. I don't want them to just have a 12K launch and pop and then be so fucking burned out they just want to burn out their business the next month. Like, that is not what I'm here for. I want to work with people, and people want to work with me because they want intentional and sustainable results. And so that is part of it, is really looking at like that like long-term intentional build and not be chasing the quick cash, the quick results, all the pay in fulls, you know, the shiny results. Like, we want to deliver a valuable service, a valuable product, and do it in a way that really supports our people, because that's going to help us stay in business longer. That's going to help them stay in business longer. And so really taking that mindset that you're not like trying to like go viral, but you're literally just building a business. So I'll get off of that topic there. But so yeah, just look at your business and see, like, make sure you're enjoying the process of building a sustainable and intentional business. Like, use the data at your fingertips. It's all there. And this is why I'm such a unique coach. Most coaches, they don't know QuickBooks like the back of their hand. They don't know how to build traffic dashboards. Like, I build traffic dashboards for my clients. Someone would charge them like $1,000 to $2,000 just for that, but I do it because it's such an integral piece of our work. I don't know how all these other business coaches are out there not looking at this stuff. Like, it's mind-blowing to me. And it's not like anyone is right or wrong, but for me and the work I do in supporting my clients, like, QuickBooks and Google Analytics 4 do some really cool stuff, and we just have so much information at our fingertips that a lot of people just don't have. I feel like we're kind of like special. We got like the special information that people don't have, but it's our information, so it's everyone has this. It's just, are they using it or not? And most people aren't. So kind of wrapping up that piece, like we always talk about finding the king in the hose, and that's what we did with her launch each time. Each time we found a new challenge, because there's always going to be a new challenge. If you're growing in business, there's a new challenge. If you're stuck, there's not a new challenge. So good news, bad news. Good news is you're growing, but bad news is you're going to always have a new challenge. So get super clear on it. Look at your data, and not see challenges as a bad thing. So if you don't know how to use your data or previous information, again, reach out. This is my jam. I'm one of the few coaches that can actually support you to do that. So that feels important to speak to. So let's recap. I think I'm done with my points there. So my client made $12K in sales off of one webinar. Her mindset was on point. She knew why her offer was like the best freaking thing someone there could spend their money on. Do you have that mindset? Like, look at what you're selling. Are you more sold on yourself than the person in front of you? Because so often we are waiting for someone else to validate us, or someone else to prove that our business is working, or someone else to tell us that our offer is good or the price is right. Like, we have to do that work and have that mindset first, and then someone else can buy into it. So the strategy piece was simple. She gave her audience a shit ton of value on a regular basis, even when she wasn't selling anything. So it's that saying, summer bodies are made in the winter. So she was, launches are made between launches. She was selling her people, priming them, giving a ton of value before she offered anything or, asked them to pay a dime. So that's kind of that first strategy piece, is always show up, give value, even when you're not really selling anything, or even if you're selling a free item, like show up and give value. And then think about the actions you take now are creating your cash and clients later. So your results are probably, the actions you're taking now are the results you're going to have in 30, 60, 90 days at a minimum. Like, think about that. Like, are you taking actions right now? What are we? This is March. Okay. So 3 months, think about, that'll be June. Are you taking actions now that are going to get you results in June, July, August? And then again, like during the summer, this is why I'm so much of a proponent of people still selling in the summer, even when you're off with your kids, or having some kind of system to support your business so you can still get content out and sell during the summer, because that's going to be your results in the fall. Like, that's that time of year that you're like, oh shit, the end of the year is coming. Like, I want to make sure I hit my revenue goal. Like, your Q4 results are the result from the actions you took during the summer. So if you just check out, like, our business can run without us. Like, I take the month off, but my business still runs. I still book clients. I still book calls without me physically being there every day. So just think about that. Set your business up so that you are showing up, selling on a regular basis, because the actions you're taking now is what's going to set you up for clients later. Are you creating different levels along your client journey to connect and build relationships with someone? So make sure you've got a client journey. If you don't, book a free call. I love working with people on this because this is just his support of the shit out of my business, and I know it can do the same for yours. Whether it looks the same as mine or not, that's not the point. We can literally come up with anything that will support you and your business. But think about your client journey, building relationships, different touch points, different levels of communication. Really think about how someone can go from cold to just like feeling like they know you and want to buy from you? Are you using previous data and information to support you to lean into now? So tweaking what's been done, or how you create and speak in your content. If y'all know me, you know I'm a big advocate of keeping like a content that converts sheet. So this is something I do and I recommend my clients do, and it's so helpful. So like if put out some content and someone books a call from it, or they respond to your email that it was really helpful, or they liked your Instagram story, like put that in a document that's like, okay, this action was taken from this content. So then you have this document that really gives you all this juicy information. You can be like, oh, I know when I talk about monthly recurring revenue, people want it. Like that's what my people want. They want monthly recurring revenue and not feeling like it's all over the place and they don't know where the next client's going to come from. So I know like that's typically something I speak to a lot because it's important for me. Like that makes me feel safe. That's why I call this group Peaceful and Profitable. Like that's what I need. And I've seen that my audience really connects with that. And so I want to speak to that more. So look at start creating a document that's like content that creates, and you'll start seeing the themes of like, ooh, when I talk about this, people really like it. Or when I talk a little more fiery, people like this. Or when I give a more personal story, people like it. Like it's probably different for all of us. So really just start to see the themes of like what's connecting with your people, what's really helping them like take that next step. So that's kind of like leaning into the data piece of like what's working and use it. And then this all kind of comes back to solving the right problem, closing the right gap. That's just what we're always trying to do. Like I'll have clients be like, well, what about this? And I'm like, that's like 5 steps down the road. Let's just focus on this right now. So really getting clear on the problem that you need to solve right now, and let yourself build momentum. I say this all the time. Your clients in cash are not a fucking Amazon click away. Like they're not going to just show up at your doorstep tomorrow because you went online and you did something. Like that's not how business works. Give yourself time and support to create this. Like I think it is such a fallacy that everybody thinks that you need to do everything perfectly on your own in business. Like any multi-6-figure business owners you look up to, I'm willing to guess, are getting some kind of support. So give yourself that permission. If you're like, I don't have results in my business yet, it isn't taking off, like that's when coaching is so great. Like people hire me when their business isn't taking off. Like it kind of doesn't make sense to be like, well, I'm going to wait until my business is taking off to hire support. It's like, well, that's defeats, like people hire me when their business isn't taking off. It's kind of like, and then they keep working with me because they see what works and they want to keep doing it. So like if you start eating right and working out, your body's going to, feel good and you're going to feel good. So you're going to keep doing it because that's what worked. And so, just thinking of it as not like, okay, I'll get the support when I'm successful. It's like getting the support is what helps you get there and to be successful. So that is something I always want to bring to the table and just like normalize and give people permission, because so many people can't give themselves permission to get support. It's like the whole bullshit story that we're supposed to do everything as a wife and a mother and do it perfectly with a smile on our face. Like business is the same way. So many people think they're supposed to be able to get the 10K, 20K, whatever K, 12K sales off of one webinar results, and they're supposed to be able to do it perfectly all by themselves. Like it's just a fallacy. And I'm calling bullshit. So if you're sitting there, you see an opportunity for tweaks to your mindset, to your strategy, and you're wondering like, hey, Jordan, I don't know, is this something that you could work with me on? I'm going to put the link for my free strategy session below. Feel free to reach out to me if you're not sure if it's like, hey, is this the right thing? Because I call it create your high ticket offer. But you could already have a high ticket offer and it's not selling. Like this is for you too. Whether you're like a done for you service provider who doesn't have a high ticket offer, or you have created something, maybe you're a web designer and you created a course you thought was going to be passive revenue and no one's buying it and you're not sure why. Book a call. Maybe you're a social media manager who came up with this higher ticket $3,000 package. No one's buying it. Book a call. Like that's what these calls are for. Feel free to ask any questions before you get on, but I really just want these to be supportive for you. It's free one-to-one coaching. I did a couple this week and got so much great feedback from people just being like, this was so helpful. Thank you. And I'm just like, oh, thank you. I love doing that. So I'll put the link below. Again, if you have a client journey that you're not sure of, or you're like, okay, I got this content going out and I'm telling everyone to book a discovery call, like there's like a huge gap right there, like book a free call and we can figure that out. If you've been taking lots of actions and they aren't resulting in clients, like book a call. So again, book a call. Wherever you are in your business, I know I can support you. So thank you again for being here. I've got to go. I've got a call today. I need to put on my coaching hat and have time to eat a little something. But I love doing these. I'll be back next week. If you have questions, comments, please leave them below. I'll be sure to answer them. And thank you. I know you could be a million places on the internet, and I really appreciate you being here with me and just viewing this. And I just love doing these. So thanks again. Bye.